Hi, Kelly.
Hello.
Welcome to So You Think You're Iconic, the movie podcast.
Woohoo.
Okay. What movie is this? Like movie 33?
31.
31?
31.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
Yes.
Uh, okay. How
It
was
feels
your
like it feels like it's been more, but
I
it's
swear it's
31.
I swear it's like 32 or 33. Come on, it has to be.
Last time we did this, I was correct.
Sure. Why not?
It
How was your week?
was pretty good. I saw my grandparents yesterday. Really fun. Also, we went to a drive up baby shower, which was exciting. Super
That's
exciting.
how does that work?
So basically, like we drove up to their house and they had like favors outside and like the usual little games that you play at a baby shower. I don't know if you've ever been to a baby shower.
I have.
Okay. So basically we rolled up, gave
Explain.
her
I
the
have a little
present.
sister.
Oh, true, 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 true. Right. You're right,
you,
right,
you
right.
think I just was 10 years old and just don't remember my sister's baby
Well,
shower?
I barely remember anything, so I was just I just assume everyone else forgets just as bad as I do. But yeah, we dropped off our gift and then we did like the two games where like you guess how many things are in a bottle and then like you get string and measure mommy's belly. And then like she had us write down our emails and stuff so she could like send us the prize if you won. And we were there for like 15 minutes and then we just left.
Yeah, I'm not really a baby shower person.
Me neither. I've been to a few and I'm just like, eh.
I've been to three, including my sister's,
Mm.
which coincidentally happened the day before she was born. Funny. Funny.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very it's very Nyla of her. It's very on brand. But yeah, I've been to three.
Hmm.
I was bored at every single one.
Yeah.
My most recent one was like 2 years ago.
Mm.
Back when we can like do stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Those were the times.
Those were the times.
I drove my cousin who flew out here. My cousin Bree. She flew out here to go to her like best friend's baby shower, and so I
Mm.
drove her. It was all the way in San Rafael,
Ooh.
so I was pretty much trapped there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay. I had food. I I was on my phone. I started buying tickets for our family reunion that was happening in a couple of months. Like I was just,
Mm. You were just there.
yeah, I was just there. I preoccupied my time.
Yeah, you did.
As for me, I started watching Scandal.
Oh yeah.
I'm almost done with season three.
Wow, already?
Yeah, but I just started on like Monday or Tuesday. I
Sheesh.
don't have a life or a job,
Or a job.
but that's fine. Um,
Is it
yes,
fine?
it really
It
isn't,
really
but
isn't.
what can I do? Yeah, so I started rewatching Scandal, and these
Mm.
storylines are wild. They're
You
wild.
forget how wild it is.
First off, let me just say that, like, I'm pretty sure about 70% of the situations they're in are easy to solve. They just take extremely complicated paths to do these things. Like, there's an episode. I mean, should I say spoiler alert? The show came out almost 10 years ago.
I mean, you can just say it just in case.
Okay, spoiler alert for like the next like 20 seconds. Um, so there's an episode where the senator walks in on a man. Oh, and also trigger warning for what I'm about to say. Walks in on a man having raping his wife, and so he shoots her.
Mhm.
And like when they started telling the story to at the beginning of the episode, I was like, this shit ain't adding up. I was like, this man was in your bed in the
Mhm.
middle of the night
Mhm.
in your home. What was he doing at your house in the middle of the night? Like nothing was adding up.
Right.
I was like, she was obviously having an affair with him. Ding ding
Mhm.
ding, I was correct.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the episode, we find out she was having an affair with him.
Mhm.
And also the senator killed him on purpose. But you know, that's a
Yeah.
whole other
Yeah.
yeah. And
That's
so
something else.
yeah. And also Fitzgerald Grant may be the most toxic man to ever hit a television.
Oof.
That man, I haven't even gotten to season 4 yet, but I remember in season 4 he literally starts a war because Olivia gets kidnapped. What's happening?
I don't know.
I'm tired. Literally, I have to take breaks every time I watch it because Fitz gets on my nerves. He gets on my nerves so bad. He's worse than Derek Shepherd to me.
Oof. That's
Derek
saying something.
Derek Shepherd used to be like the pinnacle. Oh, I have a list. A
Do
top
you?
I have a top 5 of most toxic men on television.
All right, give it to me.
Number 5. This is gonna hurt some people, but like
It has to be said.
it has to be said. Number 5 is Xander Harris from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'm
Mm.
not gonna explain because I'll be here for 20 minutes. Number 4, Tom Scavo from Desperate Housewives. If you know, you
You
know.
know.
Number 3, Damon Salvatore from The Vampire
Yeah.
Diaries.
Yeah.
Number 2, Derek Shepherd from Grey's Anatomy. Another spoiler alert. So go ahead, like 10 seconds. Was I sad when he died? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Also, his death was so dumb.
It was dumb.
He literally died because he was at a hospital that didn't have the technology to save him.
Yeah. Do you
And they
know?
didn't think about like taking him to another hospital. They're literally just like out of options,
Do you
bro.
know whose death really hurt? Mark and
Who?
Lexi's. Mark and
Oh,
Lexi's
oh,
hit me in my
100%.
heart. But you know, another story for another day. Number 1 goes to Fitzgerald Grant. That this man has all the traits of a toxic man, but then you couple it with the fact that he is one of the most important people on the planet and can do pretty much whatever he wants. It's reckless behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Reckless behavior.
Yes, absolutely.
Also, Miss Shonda Rhimes cannot write a male character to save her life, and even if she does write a good male character,
They die.
they die or she ruins it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to spoil what happened to Alex Karev, but what happened to Alex Karev
Alex,
should never
oh
have happened.
no, honestly.
What was that crap? I was sitting in my living room fuming.
She literally woke up and chose to destroy that character.
Destroy a character in one episode.
Honestly, though, she's all like, how little time does it take to destroy one episode?
One episode?
All right, let's do it.
Cool. In a letter?
Right.
Yep.
Right. She's like, I don't have to dedicate like a whole season or like a couple episodes, just one. Okay,
Just
let's do
one.
it. Just
Got
let's
it.
do it. Here's the new script, y'all.
The actor is not even going to be in the episode. Yep.
We don't even need him to destroy his life. We just need a letter.
We just need a letter and his voice. That's all we need.
That's it.
Oh, I was pissed. Okay.
Oof.
Well, that was fun. But yeah, those are my top 5 toxic male characters. So if you watch any of those shows, just like be wary for those characters. Even if you like them at the beginning, you will eventually not like them.
And if they are still your favorite characters, we'd like to just talk.
Please, can we have a discussion?
We just like to talk. That's it.
Like, why do you hate yourself and women?
Right. Like,
Because
they do not drink the respect women juice. Like,
no, absolutely not.
they're allergic to it.
Completely.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if they respect a woman, they start foaming at the mouth. Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
happening.
They break out in hives. They get irrationally angry.
I got so upset with the Vampire Diaries, I stopped watching it. So, and I was in like season 6. I only
I
had,
mean, I've stopped watching Vampire Diaries halfway through, so
I mean, I have seen the show in its entirety,
mm, I have
but,
not.
but
I literally watched the last 2 episodes.
on this rewatch, I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, I already know how it ends. It ends
Mm-hmm.
craply, just like every other the Vampire Diaries universe show. Because the originals, what was that?
Yeah, what was that?
What was that? That was a quality show. That was the best show Julie Plec, is that her name, has ever created. The originals was so good. And then we got to that last season and they were like, let's just leave a bitter taste in everyone's mouth.
Why not? Add a
And then
little too much spice.
yeah, and then don't even get me started on Legacies. Oh my gosh. I just watched the musical
Mm-mm.
episode. I was like,
They
what
have
is
a
this?
musical episode.
And you want to know what the
Uh,
musical is? Like they're doing a musical.
what?
The musical is the story of the Vampire Diaries. That's literally the musical.
That's the musical?
And Bonnie is
Mm.
not in it. You know,
No.
the person who saved literally everyone's
Yeah.
life multiple times. She's not
She
in it.
literally, in the last couple of episodes, she literally saved it. She's literally the savior, bro.
Without Bonnie Bennett, all of them would have been dead.
Yeah. They wouldn't have gotten past like season 1 or 2. Like,
No, not season 1.
literally. She's literally too powerful. That's literally why they took her out.
Yeah, they were like, we first off, we don't have any black girls in this entire school. Secondly, they were like, we can't, that the amount of charisma that would need to be on the stage we don't have.
Yeah.
So they were like,
Yeah. Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
just leave her out of the story.
They went through the whole story of Vampire Diaries and they're like, damn, she's good. We gotta take her out. She
Oh well.
overshadows everyone.
Yeah, they're like, oh well, let's give Caroline 2 songs about how she feels inferior to Elena. That let's do that.
No. No, no, no.
Yeah. So yeah. Uh fun times.
Fun times, y'all.
Okay, Kelly, are you ready to tell the people about You've Got Mail?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get started.
Also, just a thing, Jordan does not do like romance movies. Like
No,
not really.
I love a good
A
romance
good romance
movie.
movie.
My favorite is A Walk to Remember. I love that movie.
Yes.
Love it.
Which we will have to do eventually.
I watch it every Valentine's Day.
Do you?
Yep.
Hmm.
I love A Walk to Remember. It's so good. It was so good I read the book. So that's how you know I
Okay.
liked a movie, if I
Yeah,
read the book.
you read the book, yeah. Okay. So the movie starts with Kathleen waking up to her boyfriend talking about how this is okay, y'all. This is when computers were starting to be allowed in like workspaces. For those
Mm.
of y'all who did not grow up in that era where computers were a luxury.
Oh my gosh, she skipped the fact that they spent so much money at the beginning of this movie for like the title
Oh yeah,
credits
I know.
doing terrible graphics.
Well,
The worst graphics I've ever seen.
it was bro. All of that software that it takes to do that not available.
Then they shouldn't have done it. It looked so bad. I bet they spent a good like $3 million editing and like programming that, and it looked terrible. I would have been like, no, it can't be in the movie. I'm so sorry.
Probably for the era though, it probably looked super good.
Okay.
But anyway, Kathleen Kelly's boyfriend is talking about how Minesweeper had to be deleted off work computers because it distracted workers so much. and he just rags into how
Minesweeper.
I know Minesweeper.
I haven't played that game since I was like in elementary
I
school.
know, right? um, and how the advancement in technology isn't always great and blah 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 blah. He leaves for work and she watches him go. Like she watches him like right when he leaves the door, she follows him out the windows and stuff like that. And the moment he's out of her sight, she runs to her laptop and she signs into her AOL email account and she
I had one
finds
of
that she,
those.
yeah, right. For those of you who don't know what AOL is,
AOL or AIM.
or yeah,
Mm.
or AIM.
I had those at an age I really should not have. But
Honestly,
I had a
same.
lot of things I should not have had at my young age. I had a MySpace in like the 6th grade.
Yeah, not a good time. We really should not have been doing that.
And also, can we talk about how she lived in that like brownstone, which could not have been cheap, and the
Oh yeah.
inside was so ugly. Like the walls were like this weird like yellow color, and then like all of her furniture was like mismatched, like different colors. It was
Yeah.
weird.
And it was all like wooden blocky big furniture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe she spent all the money on the place that when she got in, she's like, crap, I don't have any money to
She's like,
furnish.
I have no money for furniture, so she just went to like yard sales and just picked up
Yeah.
whatever she could
Really
get.
though. She's all like, are those matching? They're not? Okay, I'll just take the table and whatever chairs you have left because I've got three at home.
It's like it's only $5. Just put it in my
That's
car.
right.
Just
Put it in
put
the
it.
car. Let's go. And it's a new email from a user called NY152 about Brinkley, his dog. We then flash to Joe and a voiceover of him talking
Oh my
about
gosh, that just helped me realize something
what?
about the end of the movie. Thank you for telling me the name of the dog because I literally didn't know. And then
Oh,
yeah, thank you.
um, so Joe is talking about his dog Brinkley and the feeling of fall and the fact he likes not knowing who he's writing to while he makes coffee for his girlfriend while she rushes out to work.
Parker Posey.
Yeah, Parker Posey.
I've never seen
When
her in a movie where she wasn't the villain.
really?
Literally, when she was being nice, I was like, wow, that's a change of pace. I've literally never seen her in anything where she wasn't a villain.
Wow. Because I saw her first in this. So like I had
I mean, she
no
isn't great in this movie,
she yeah.
but she's not a villain.
Yeah, but she's not her usual. Yeah. When his girlfriend leaves, he also logs on to his AOL email to find a response from Shopgirl, who explains that they met in a chat room and that they actually don't know each other, but she's always excited to see an email from him.
Because you gotta love emotional affairs.
Right, right. I literally bring that up later on. We see Joe and Kathleen on their way to work and how they are always like kind of close to each other but never
They
interact.
live pretty much next to each
Yeah, they
other.
really do. Like a couple buildings down, maybe. Joe shows up to a construction site for a new bookstore where he gets updates from Kevin,
Whew.
Dave Chappelle.
Okay, first off, why was Dave Chappelle in this movie? Why?
You know why? He
Why?
was he was supposed to be in Forrest Gump,
Playing
but
who?
I don't remember. He was supposed
It
to be
better
in
not be
Forrest Gump.
Bubba, because what?
Yeah, he was supposed to be Forrest Gump, and he turned it down for another project. And then he got another but he really wanted to work with Tom Hanks. So he got another
Why?
I don't know. He got another option and it was this movie. So he took it.
Okay, and cool. And then also in this scene,
Mm.
the lighting on Dave Chappelle is abhorrent. They have first off, they have a dark skinned man wearing dark colors,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine,
Yeah.
except for the fact that you
It's
have him
barely lit.
it's barely lit in there and you keep putting him in the shadows. There was a
Mm-hmm.
point where I could not see him at all. I was literally sitting there like, no one thought to refilm
Right.
this.
Right. They're like, dude, you can't even see his face at
You
this point.
can't
Like,
see him. I
I
was
don't know.
mad. I just know Dave Chappelle went to the premiere and he was pissed.
Mm-hmm. He
This
probably
is
walked in, saw
this is why he
could
stopped
barely see
acting.
himself, and he's like, "Damn."
This is why he stopped acting, because of this movie. He stopped acting because of this movie. We lost the Dave Chappelle show because of this movie.
Sorry, y'all. Um, so he gets updates from Kevin, his friend and like his work partner, and he gets a lot of bad news. But Joe is just like, "Yeah, sure, that sounds great." He's not even listening.
I
Joe's in a
wasn't
great.
either. He was getting bad news.
Yeah. Yes.
I was just so upset that like I didn't hear a single word that was coming out of any of their
Yeah,
mouths.
dude. He was like, a lot of material hasn't shown up because of this and this, and the electrician isn't here because of this reason. And Joe's just like, yeah, sure, that sounds great. Whatever. Is the electrician here? And he's like, bro, you're not even listening to me.
Yeah, did not hear a single word that happened during that conversation at
Okay.
all.
So Joe is in a great mood, and Kevin thinks it's because he's gotten engaged to Patricia, his girlfriend, but they haven't. Back to business. Joe wants to announce to the neighborhood that the new bookstore is coming, but Kevin shoots him down immediately, and he's just like, "Bro, it's like saying you're gonna open a crack house in the Upper West Side because they're that much against like big brand stores and whatever." I've never been to the Upper West Side, but apparently,
Girl, we can't afford that.
I know. Apparently, it's all like bougie little cell phone stores. Good for them that they can afford it, but
Yeah, good for them.
good for them. Kathleen shows up to her bookstore called The Shop Around the Corner.
With
And
Cheryl from Miss Congeniality.
yes, yes. And she opens her bookstore, and she's also in a great mood as she greets one of her workers, Christina. And she's acting a little strange, and Christina is all like, yo, what's up with you? You're probably in love, aren't you? And Kathleen's like, no, I'm not in love. And then she has to remember that she has a boyfriend. And then she's like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I am in love. Yeah, if your first instinct was that you're not in love, and then you have to second guess, and you're like, oh, wait, I do have a boyfriend. I should be in love, right? You're not in love.
Well, her boyfriend seemed boring, so like I understand
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. But Christina won't let it go and demands an answer. And Kathleen asks if she's cheating. She's involved with someone via email.
Yeah, if you have to ask if you're cheating, you're cheating.
You're cheating. Yeah.
I don't
Also,
know what other way to explain that to you.
yeah. Yeah. If you have to ask if something's wrong, it's wrong.
It's wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just straight up wrong. Because there's something called emotional cheating, y'all. It's a real thing.
That's exactly what she's doing.
Yeah, you don't have to actually like have sex with somebody to cheat or be physical with someone to cheat.
Yeah.
Oops. Christina then asks if they've had sex, and Kat's like, no, we haven't even met. And Christina's like, no, I mean like cyber sex. But also like when the connection is like that in with the internet that was available, how do you even have cyber sex?
I mean, they could instant message, something they don't start doing until the middle of this movie. I was like, what's happening? I was like, why are you guys sending each other emails? Like, just I am each other.
I don't know. I think maybe it was different in the earlier ones, but I always did. I am.
Yeah.
Kat says again that it's just emails, but she might have to stop because it's getting confusing. Christina asks where they met, and Kat says that she went into an over 30 chat room as a joke on her birthday. And she found him there, and that there was an instant connection, and they agreed to talk to one another, but they can't say anything personal. Christina says it could be anyone, and jokes it could be the next person that comes into the store, which turns out to be George, who is another one of their coworkers. They ask if he's...
I don't know his name, but I know he was in like a couple of movies I've seen.
I love how you always recognize someone.
Most notably, he was in Daddy Daycare. I remember that.
Was he?
He played the like guy that was like obsessed with Star Trek.
Oh, I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, it's him.
Okay. They ask if he's online, and he says no. And then another coworker, Birdie, an older woman, enters the shop and asks what the girls are talking about. Christina says cyber sex, which gets Birdie talking about the time she tried it but kept getting a busy signal.
Birdie saved this movie for me.
Birdie really did. I love Birdie. I want to be Birdie one day. We flash to Joe, who's in his father's office, talking to him and his grandfather about the new building, and finds out that his father is getting married again for no good reason other
Oh
than
yeah,
the fact that he
I have
needs
something to
somebody.
say about that at the end of the movie. But yeah, I was like, sir.
Yeah, no. Joe tells him that another independent bookstore in the area has gone bankrupt, and he says he's going to buy their stock, which brings up their conversation about another independent children's bookstore called The Shop Around the Corner, which is Kat's shop. His grandfather says that he knows the shop and he knew the previous owner, Cecilia, and that they might have dated once, but they for sure exchanged letters, and how charming she was, and that now her daughter owns the place. We get a voiceover from Joe emailing Shopgirl about his father getting married again. We get a response to that from Kat saying the time she read a book about a butterfly that gets on a butterfly on the train, and she actually sees it happen. We basically get a lot of emails back and forth between Shopgirl and Y152. They bring up Pride and Prejudice, which is my favorite movie and a really good book, y'all. Please
Never
check it out.
seen it, never read it.
I'm gonna have to make you watch it. um,
Uh,
there's a, there's
I've
also
seen Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. Does that
no,
count?
no. It's
that
not even
that
close.
movie was awful,
It
but
was
I
so
saw it.
bad. I hate that movie with a passion. um, we get an email from Joe about Starbucks and how it was made for people who can't make many decisions at once, but you have to make a lot of decisions at once just to make one order. And I feel it
Yeah,
in
like
my soul.
has he never been to a Starbucks?
Right.
Also,
Right. Like, were Starbucks new?
Why was George Lucas in this movie?
What?
Was that not George Lucas who was literally right behind Kathleen when she or right next to her when she was ordering her coffee?
I don't think so.
It looked like George Lucas. I'm gonna look it up right
Maybe I
now.
wasn't looking that hard.
You keep talking. I'm gonna look it up right
Okay.
now.
Um, so we just see a lot of emails back and forth between them. Joe shows up to work as the announcement for the Fox bookstore is painted outside. Kat walks by it but doesn't register what's going on. But George sees it and tells the girls when he gets to the shop. So the three of them goes to see it, and Kat says that they'll be fine because big bookstores don't provide the good customer service that they do. Kat is at a deli with Birdie, and they talk about how it's good that the bookstore is opening, but Birdie isn't so sure. At Kat's apartment, Frank tells Kat that she'll be fine with her business and that everything's going to work out. And he shows her this new typewriter that he got, but he's already got one or maybe three at his place. Kat gets back to worrying about her job, but Frank assures her she's doing okay, but she's just not buying it. That night, she emails NY152 saying that she fears that she's not really living her life or having any adventure because she just feels like she's reading it all the time and not actually doing anything about it. Joe is then on his boat when Annabelle and Matt, his family, and his almost stepmother, Jillian, and the new nanny, Maureen, are dropping them off to have a date with him.
Okay, it was not George Lucas, but it looks so much like George.
See, I thought so.
Literally, I'm gonna go back in that movie, find a picture of him, and then on Instagram, I'm gonna post a side by side because he looks so much like George Lucas.
I'm gonna have to. Okay, yeah. When I see that, I'll have to like pay attention because okay. So Joe and the kids go to a little kid fair, and after that, they stop by Kat's bookstore where she's doing a reading time. After that, Kat is giving book recommendations to Annabelle while Joe looks at one of those expensive handcrafted books. He sees Kat and Annabelle together, and Kat assumes that he is Annabelle's father, but Joe corrects her and makes introductions.
Yeah, I need a graph or something to explain the relationship between these kids and Joe.
Yeah,
I was confused. He was like, no, she's my aunt, and I was like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
I was like, your grandfather is still shooting?
I will tell you that this was the first time that I really paid attention to that moment because I never really understood. I really thought they were joking with her. until I looked it up just to make sure that, like, because I always thought they were his kids or something from like a previous marriage. And I'm just like, oh no, Annabelle really is his aunt.
Yes.
She's
And then
11
and then
and she's his aunt.
whatever the boy with an obvious mental disability is, because he can only spell fox.
Matt is 4, and that's his stepbrother.
He's 4. Yeah, he's 4.
He's 4.
He's a giant 4-year-old.
They said in the wiki that he's 4.
I thought he was like 6.
He kind of looks 6, but he would look like a tiny 6.
That still doesn't. I'm still confused as to why he can only spell fox.
I don't know. Maybe the nanny isn't doing a good job. I for sure know that his dad is not raising that kid.
We know the nanny isn't doing her job, but yeah.
And I don't think the mom is either at this point, wherever the mom is.
You know damn well she isn't.
So after that, Kat and Joe share a little moment for a second before Kat moves to check out Annabelle and her books. Annabelle sneezes and Kat gives her her handkerchief that her mother made for her with her initial and Daisy on it. Joe asks who she is, and Kat says that she's the owner of the shop, and he's made the connection about who she is from the conversation with his grandfather and his father. And he just says that his name is Joe. Doesn't tell her where he works or what his last name is. As they're being checked out by George, he asks Joe if he'll come back, and he says he will. And George says that that's why the bookstore will stay open, because the customers are so loyal. Kat mentions the new Fox bookstore opening, and Annabelle almost says that her dad owns the building. But Joe stops her and says that they buy discount and it's not something to be proud of. Matt then spells Fox for Kat, and she's excited for him while Joe freaks out. He gives him a book to read, and he gets Annabelle to read to him, and she tells them to ignore everything he's about to say because he's basically about to just lie to Kat. Back with Kat, she tells him about the store and how her mom didn't just sell books, but helped raise kids with the experiences that the books she would give them would impact their lives. Kat realizes she's overshared, and Joe agrees. And he points out a picture of Kat and her mom and says that she looks enchanting. And Kat says that the store was left for her and that she'll leave it for her daughter when she's old enough, or when she has one. Joe then pays for the books, which came out to $73, which
expensive. Wow.
I have bought at least that amount at once before.
But he didn't have that much.
I know, but
and this was 1998.
I know. I think I got 13 books for 50 something, and that was from a used bookstore.
You're ridiculous. I can't. No.
Yo. Okay. It was a series, and I needed all of the books and all of like the little in between books that you didn't really need, but I wanted them. So 13 bucks.
I bought the entire Percy Jackson series for like $20.
From where?
I think Amazon.
Oh. Well, I get most of my books used because I don't want to. Also, you can get like hardcover books for so much cheaper.
Yeah, I wish I got hardcover. I hate these paperback.
Yeah, because I was reading the Percy Jackson books as they were coming out. Most of mine are like a half and half of the soft cover and the hardcover. And it really angers me, but I'm just like, I am not going back and spending the money to rebuy the books as hardcover. Anyway, Joe asks how old Kat's daughter is, and she's confused for a second, but she says she's not married or has kids, but eventually she will, and that she'll have to give the bookstore over to her, and that she wants Fox Books to go to hell. Joe then gathers the kids and their things, and they leave. The Fox bookstore has its grand opening, and people flock to the store. At Kat's store, they are setting up for Christmas, and Birdie says that only after 6 days of the Fox bookstore being open, they've lost $1,200 already. They ask Kat if they'll have to close, and she says that they won't, but George isn't sure, and so he leaves the store. Kat goes after him, but sees Miranda, a children's book author, outside and invites her in. They ask about her new book and whether she would like to schedule a book signing at the store. And Miranda says it's not out until January. So they're not going to make plans yet. And she's worried that the bookstore is not going to make it until then. But Kat's like, no, it'll be fine. And Miranda says that she'll support her with anything that she needs, from getting pickets to getting the New York Times to write about her.
Which never happens.
Never happens. Or getting the nut from the Observer, who is Kat's boyfriend, to write something for her. Kat tells Frank about it later in the day, and she worries that people think she's going to go out of business. They end up at a party where Joe and his girlfriend are at as well. Joe spots her and keeps an eye on her while he goes to the bar to get his girlfriend a new drink. They meet at the bar and Joe tries to dodge her, but he can't. But slips away, saying his girlfriend really needs her drink, and Kat is kind of confused. A man catches Kat and asks how she could be speaking with Joe Fox, and she is shocked. She then confronts Joe at the buffet line and says that Joe must have been spying on her when he came to the bookstore the other day. And he makes a joke from a line from The Godfather, but Kat is not letting up, and she doesn't let that distract her. They antagonize each other for a little bit, and Joe basically reads her out, and Kat is so angry she's lost her words. When Frank shows up to confront him, and while he's trying to do so, Patricia shows up and joins the conversation. Turns out Patricia loves what Frank writes, and they have this whole conversation, and Kat and Joe try to drag them apart. Joe and Patricia are in bed that night, and she talks about how Frank is so awesome and blah, 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 blah. She eventually falls asleep, but Joe gets up to email Shopgirl. Also, she went out. She slept like so quickly.
Yeah.
How do people do that?
I don't know. I'd be laying there for like an hour.
I know, right? Like if my significant other is like, yeah, I'm gonna go write an email, I'm like, yeah, I'll probably be up still when you get back.
Yeah, like
probably for like another hour after that.
I will most definitely be just staring at the abyss when you come back.
Yeah, I will be questioning my whole life existence, and can't wait for you to get back. Joe emails Shopgirl, and he tells her how nasty he was to Kat. And she replies saying she wished she could be more confrontational, because instead of saying or doing anything, her mind just goes blank, and she asks for advice. Joe writes back and says that as nice as it is to be able to have a comeback and reading someone to filth is great. It doesn't feel as satisfying.
No, it's very satisfying. I don't know where he got that from.
Well, in this situation, he says it's not as satisfying as she thinks it would be.
Nothing feels good to me like a good comeback. I love a comeback.
And at the end of his email, he asks if they could meet. Kat is shocked and doesn't reply. Over time, Joe and Kat see each other in multiple places and avoid each other like the plague. Kat sees Joe at the grocery store and avoids him at all costs, which makes her get into the cash-only line when she only has a credit card. She tries to convince the cashier to take her card, but isn't successful until Joe
Kelly
comes by.
from Grey's Anatomy.
Yes. Yes. I know. I couldn't remember her name, and I didn't want to spend the brain power or any of my power looking it up, but I was just all like, oh yeah, it's O'Malley's first wife.
Yeah.
Joe comes by and charms the cashier into accepting it, and Kat is once again left speechless.
My favorite character in the entire movie is a man in line. His name is Henry.
Oh yeah, Henry.
He's a petty mess, and I loved it.
He really is, though.
He was like, "Get out of line, get out of line."
Yeah.
And then,
I don't even know how much stuff she bought, but he's just like, "Yeah, get all your shit and get into another line."
Yeah. And then at the
you don't have cash, get out.
Yeah, at the end, when she's allowed to use her card, she's like apologizing to everyone. Mm-hmm. He's like, just sign already.
Yeah.
He's like, just leave.
He's so done with her. He's all like, bro, you're already in the wrong line. You're apologizing and taking up more time. Just get out.
Good job, Henry.
Good job, Henry.
Keep her on her toes.
Keep her on her toes. Joe is at a family get-together where he's hit on by his soon-to-be stepmother. I think this is supposed to be like Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and his like aunt
yes.
is singing Tomorrow from Annie.
Yeah, she is. And she's
It's bad.
She's giving her all. It's not the greatest.
I mean, let's be honest. When most children sing that song, it's bad.
It's a little high. That's why
Oh,
they're
sure.
basically screaming at that point. But we have to encourage the younger folk.
Do we?
Yes, we do. Yes,
I
we do.
like to tear them down and keep them humble.
Oh no.
That's why I'm never having children.
Oh my goodness. Sorry, Nyla. While Kat is with her friends for Thanksgiving, and I think Frank was the worst. He was offbeat, and he was totally off key when they tried to do the singing thing together.
I mean, none of them could sing.
None of them could sing, but he was definitely the worst. It's Christmas now, and Birdie passes Fox bookstore, and in the window she sees that Miranda is doing her book signing there instead of Kat's store. Kat is decorating the store alone and sees people pass by with Fox bookstore bags. We then get a voiceover from her sending an email to NY152 saying that she's missing her mother a lot this Christmas and that she would have liked to ask her for some advice about what to do for the store. Joe replies saying that he's willing to help her, and Kat goes to reply but is surprised to get an IM by him because they're online at the same time.
They've been emailing for like weeks, if not months, and they just now start IMing.
Yeah. Like this is the only time that they've been on at the same time. I feel like that's a lie.
Yeah, it has to be a lie.
Yeah, they've definitely been on at the same time, and they've just ignored the little IM button that's flashing that says that they're online. She was reluctant to tell him at first, but folds and says that her business is in trouble. He then asks what her business is about because he's a businessman and he's very willing to help her. But Kat says, we don't tell anything personal, remember? And so he's like, I guess I'll give you general advice. And he gives her another Godfather quote. I don't know what's with all the Godfather in this.
I don't either. I've never even seen The Godfather.
You've never seen The Godfather?
No. I've seen Scarface, and I just assumed they were like the same. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, no, you should watch Godfather. It's a classic. The first two are really good. The third one.
There's multiple?
Yeah, there's multiple. Yeah, and they're so long. I literally dedicated a whole day to watching Godfather. I dedicated it a whole Sunday.
I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah, if you want, just watch the first two. She asks why the obsession with the Godfather, and he says that it has the answers to everything, which Joe basically tells her to go to war, saying it's not personal, it's just business. And so she takes the advice to heart. Frank comes in and she immediately hides her laptop, which she could have just had it open, but since she thinks she's cheating,
right.
She has to hide it.
That looks suspicious to me. If I
right,
walk
why
in.
Frank never questioned her?
I mean, we find out later he didn't really care, but
true.
But like, I walk in on a girlfriend and she immediately starts hiding her computer. I'd be like, what's happening here?
Right. Like, oh, you want to show me something on your laptop right now?
Right. Oh, it's sharing time now.
Yeah, it's very much sharing time
it's
right
sharing
now.
time right now.
I appreciate your privacy and whatever, but that did not look like
no.
Like it was any type of good.
Yeah, something bad is happening here. We're gonna rectify it right now.
Frank comes in and she immediately hides her laptop and she asks if he will write a piece about her in the shop to help her get more business, and he agrees. So at the shop, business is once again booming because the article Frank has written, and she gives an interview for the news. There's picket lines outside of Fox Books. She gives speeches in front of her little shop. She goes like ham.
We should do that movie. I like that movie.
Joe and Kevin see one of the interviews she gives to the news, and Joe is upset with how he is made to look because she takes a lot of his words and basically throws it back at him, and he is not happy about that. Frank even gives an interview about Kat's store, where he and the girl that is interviewing him on TV flirt with each other, and Kat is weirded out about it. And that whole interaction between them was so weird.
Yeah, it was weird. Ooh. When Joe and what was Dave Chappelle's character's name?
Kevin.
Kevin, when Joe and Kevin are in the gym, it's the only scene that has good lighting for Dave
Yeah, it
Chappelle.
really is. It really is.
I
It's
was
probably
like,
because he's directly under
he's
a light.
directly underneath the light.
All
And
the other
also,
times the lights are like behind him or something.
my like childhood heart like cracked during this scene
Why?
because Tom Hanks said shit and it was like
Oh yeah.
Woody saying shit and I was like, no. So yeah,
Oh.
my childhood is ruined. Thanks,
Oh.
Kelley.
Sorry. I never even thought about
I
that.
could have gone my entire
Oh
life without hearing Tom Hanks say a curse word.
no. Oh no, I
Honestly,
apologize.
now I can't watch Toy Story ever again.
Toy Story is ruined. Um, back at Kat's bookstore, her and Bertie find out that even all the publicity that they're getting isn't improving their sales. And Kat asks Bertie what her mother would do. And Bertie takes out like a little locket with a picture of her mother and she puts it to her ear and she's just like, your mother says that she loves the window display. And then she's like, that's it. And then she leaves, which makes Kat even more confused.
Yeah, I would have been like, what?
I know, like what? I don't care if she likes the window display. Of course she does. I did it.
This
But
is
like,
we're going broke. Like
we're going bankrupt. I've got like 4 workers I need to tell if they need a new job or not. Kat still needs help and asks NY152 if he'd still like to meet, and he agrees. Joe and Kevin walk to the place where he's to meet Shop Girl, where he will recognize her from a book and a flower that she brings.
More bad lighting for Dave Chappelle.
More bad lighting for Dave Chappelle. It's literally nighttime and there's no lighting on either
No
of them.
lighting on either of them.
Joe is freaking out and Kevin reassures him and they finally arrive at the cafe. Joe says that she's the best thing to ever happen to him and if she's pretty, he'd literally turn his world over for her. And he freaks out some more and sends Kevin to check out the girl first. Kevin sees her and tells Joe.
Because he's an asshole that would have just left her there if she wasn't pretty.
Yeah, he really would have. Kevin sees her and tells Joe that she's pretty and that she's very similar to Kat. And if he doesn't like Kat, then he's not going to like her because it is Kathleen Kelley. Joe doesn't believe him and he goes to look.
Wait, her last name is Kelley?
Yeah.
Her name is Kathleen Kelley.
Yeah, her name is Kathleen Kelley.
She has 2 first names as her name.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
It kind of is. I wonder what her middle name is.
Kathleen Christian Kelley. Christian with a K.
Yeah, Christian with a K. Joe sees her and says that he can't go into the cafe. And now Kevin really asks if that's okay, but he just leaves. Kat is waiting eagerly inside. And people are acting like she's being stood up and they try to take her chair and whatever.
Because she was being stood up.
She was being stood up. She basically was stood up in her mind. But she hides the minute that she sees Joe in the cafe. Joe approaches her and stays despite her objections. They pick each other apart until Kat just tells him to leave because she's waiting for somebody and they might show up anytime. He leaves her table but goes immediately to the one behind her. We love a petty king. Yeah. And sits directly behind her.
He was being an asshole.
He was being an asshole. But like that was, I feel like he was being petty. But like later on, he was just being an asshole.
Yeah.
Another person, well, he goes to the next table and they continue to argue. Another person enters the cafe and just Joe suspects it's not him either and asks who she's waiting for. She says she's waiting for the best person that she's ever met, and that he's probably not here because he has a great excuse not to be there. And then she tears Joe apart. And
she got him good.
She got him good.
She really did.
She read him to filth, and I'm
like he couldn't even say anything after that. He had to leave.
Right.
He had to leave.
Right. She's just all like, I'm gonna read you. Give me 2 minutes. I'm gonna read you, and then I'm gonna tear you apart so bad that I'm gonna have to leave because I have nothing else to say.
Yes.
So she does that. He leaves, and then so does she. Back at her apartment, she checks her email and sees that there's nothing from NY152. Joe is back at his apartment and he feels terrible, but he doesn't send an email explanation back. Joe is talking to Kevin the next day at the store and says that even though Kat is pretty, she was a bitch, which just because she read you and tore you apart does not mean that she was a bitch. She was literally just telling you the truth.
Right.
Kat shows up at her store and tells Christina that her guy never showed up, and they make, and she's like, he probably has a good excuse why he didn't make it to the cafe. And so each of them comes up with a more and more ridiculous excuse as to why he wasn't there.
Yes. I love that instead of thinking that she was stood up, they came up with the idea that he was a serial killer.
Yeah, I love that. So George comes in and he has a newspaper and he learns that the guy stood up Kat. And he immediately is just all like, dude, he wasn't there because he was caught. And they're like, what? And he shows them the newspaper and it says that the rooftop killer was arrested last night, 2 blocks away from the cafe that they were supposed to meet at. And honestly, if that's not friendship, being like, bro, he's a serial killer.
Yeah.
You were just saved.
You were saved.
Kat says that Joe showed up instead. And Birdie comes in and it's just all like, oh, he didn't come? And she's sad as well. Kat emails NY152 saying that she's been thinking of him and tells him about her interaction with Joe and how terrible she feels now that she ripped Joe to shreds, which she really shouldn't.
No, not at all.
She asks why they weren't there and that all of their interactions with one another, even if they weren't personal, were very meaningful to her. Joe reads it and tries to come up with a reason why he wasn't there.
Oh, that first attempt was not it.
It was not it.
It would have been an insult to Kathleen's intelligence if he had sent that email.
Mm-hmm. I mean, both excuses he came up with were not good.
No, but that first one was
one was horrible. Mm-hmm. He literally just like, I'm in Canada. Yeah.
What?
I ran away to Canada because
and
I didn't want to see
I got stuck in a meeting and then blah blah blah. I was like, dude, none of that make any sense.
Right. Like, okay, here's like, you shouldn't lie to the person that you're seeing, but if you do need to lie, don't give too many details.
No.
Just literally say, you know what, I was in a meeting and I couldn't get out of it. And then they'll either buy it or they won't. And if they ask you more questions,
that's not even technically a lie because he was meeting her.
Yeah. And technically he was with Kevin. So he could say he really was meeting. He went in a meeting with somebody.
Yep.
It's the partial truths.
Partial truths. They keep relationships going. I'm kidding.
This is why both of us are single. So Joe just finally settles on asking for forgiveness for not showing up and says he felt terrible for putting her in that position with Joe that caused her pain and that what she said was probably deserved, which it was. And he takes blame for it, but he says that he's still there to talk if she wants. Kat tells Christina about the email as they go to Birdie's house. And when they're at Birdie's house, Kat tells Christina and Birdie that she is closing the store for real. And Birdie says it's a good thing. Kat doesn't really think so, but Birdie's like, no, it's fine because you're brave enough to close the shop and now you can do whatever you want with your life. You can go do whatever adventure you wanted to do now that you're free. Birdie then tells them about a lover she had in Spain that may or may not have actually run Spain, the country.
Yeah.
And that's why they didn't work out. That night, Kat and Frank go to the movies and they're talking about Birdie and her possible fascist lover who ran Spain. And the conversation devolves into politics and eventually their relationship. And Kat just gets up and leaves.
Yeah, before the movie even starts, she just gets up and leaves.
Yeah. Frank chases after her and he apologizes for his actions and says, that she's been on edge because the store is closing, but he has something important to tell her. So they go to a restaurant and Frank tells her that he doesn't love her. And she's like, I didn't love you either.
Yeah, it was legendary.
It really was.
He was like, you don't love me? I don't love you either.
They're like, oh my God, thank God. And that he might have a possible thing with the girl that interviewed him about a cat store.
Yeah, but she's a Republican. Uh,
And Frank asks if Kat has anybody, and she's like, there isn't somebody, but there's a dream of somebody. Also, if anybody has ever had a breakup go that smoothly, can I hear about it? Because I have never had something like that happen before.
I had a breakup go pretty okay. It
Really?
was the 6th grade, but you know, it was okay.
Bro, no, I was talking to a guy once, and like the way I had to let him down, I let him down so gently. And he was just like, man, he was so angry. And I'm just like, yo, please don't. So if you ever have a good breakup like this, cherish it.
I mean, I had an okay situationship end. We just stopped texting each other.
You ghosted each other. Okay, well.
We just ghosted each other.
I don't think that counts. But anyway.
I think it counts.
At least it was mutual.
It was mutual.
After their little breakup dinner, Frank moves out that night. Kat then starts to sell everything in her store, and after that day, she goes into Fox Bookstore and heads up to the children's section.
I hated when she was like selling stuff. Like she had like the sale at her store, and then all these people started coming in with their sob stories, and I was
right.
And I was like, where were you like 2 weeks ago?
Right.
Like now that the store is 40% off, all of a sudden you want to come up in here and start buying shit.
Right. Now that I'm broke and things are closing, now you want to come to me.
Right. Now you want to be like, oh my gosh, I used to come in here when I was a child and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I was like,
I'm going to cry. And it's like, bruh, I'm literally losing everything.
We've been open this entire time.
Right.
Like you could have came at any point in time and bought a book.
Right. Like, you know what? I'm not going to sell to you now.
And also, what is the name? Fox Bookstore? Yeah, it looked beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. But I would hate to go there.
Why?
It was way too crowded and loud.
Oh, yeah.
For a bookstore. If I'm going to a bookstore, I want peace and tranquility. I don't want like ruckus and mayhem. It looked like a mall.
It really did, though.
There were people just running around everywhere. Everyone was being loud. I was like, this is not the peaceful bookstore I want.
I think I've only been in like a couple like multi-story bookstores before, and it wasn't that crowded.
Yeah, I went to the one at the Grove in LA, and it wasn't that crowded.
Yeah.
So what was happening here?
I don't know. Like, I think I've only seen like a couple like times I've been in a bookstore, like where it was actually that crowded before. I've seen it twice, and even then it was strange. Anyway, Kat is in the children's section and she sees it full and she feels kind of melancholy. Joe sees her and decides to watch her from afar. Kat sits down at one of the kids' tables and she overhears a mother asking a worker about books she's looking for. And when the worker can't answer her, she gives the information she's looking for and she starts tearing up. Joe and Patricia are on their way home and she is talking about how she's thinking about hiring Kat as a children's book editor, because people have been talking about her nonstop and how people swear by her recommendations and all that. Joe doesn't think she'd be good for it, but Patricia disagrees and says she's only free to do so now because Joe's the one that put her out of business. So Joe, Patricia, and 2 others are stuck in the elevator. And so Joe calls for help and they wait to be rescued. While they wait, they're like, they've been there for a while. While they wait, one of the ladies says that if she ever gets out of this elevator, she's going to call her mom. And the elevator attendant says that he'll marry his girl. And Patricia says that when she gets out, she's going to get her eyes lasered. And when Joe tries to say his piece, he's interrupted by Patricia.
I have a little controversial thing to say. I wouldn't mind being stuck in an elevator. As long as I didn't have to pee, I would be fine.
Really?
Yeah.
You're not claustrophobic or anything.
I'm not.
Okay.
Plus I've been desperately wanting some alone time. And that'd be like a good hour to like 3 hours of just
Stuck in an
if I
elevator
could
by
just be
yourself.
yeah, that would be great.
That'd be like great meditation self, just,
Yeah,
time by yourself.
just sit there, just sit in quiet.
Hmm.
It would be great if I had some music too. Just just play some music on my phone, just sit
Right.
there.
3 hours by yourself with you and some music.
Yeah, that'd be
You'd be a
great.
different person the moment you walked out.
Yeah, I would walk out happier. I'd be the only person to walk out of the stuck elevator happier,
Yeah, you'd be like, why did y'all get here so fast?
right? I was like, I was in the middle of my third world tour. Like,
Right,
you need to come back like
right,
2 hours from now.
right. I was halfway through, okay? I was about to get to the emotional stuff. Like,
Yeah.
come back later.
I was just about to just start belting Beyonce's I Care. I don't know why you're in here.
Right. Like, this did not call for extras, okay? This is just
No,
me and Beyonce.
I did not call for my background dancers yet. You need to
Right,
close
right.
this door. You're
This
too
is this is
early.
just this is a single set. This is just me out here.
Yeah, just me.
Okay. So we get a voiceover from Joe saying that the moment he got off the elevator, he broke up with Patricia and he moved out and now he lives on his boat and he wishes he knew what he wanted to do with his life. Kat replies saying that her store is closing that week and everything will be a memory now and she's heartbroken and nothing can make it right. She closes the shop one last time and sees her younger self, twirling with her mom, and then she leaves. Joe shows up back to his boat one morning and sees his father has arrived to stay on his boat as well. Turns out that his father ended the engagement. They talk about his father's many past lovers and says that Jillian has run off with the nanny Maureen. And
Good for
how
them.
ironic that is.
The dad.
Yes.
Let's unpack that.
Okay.
He states that like he doesn't care that she
Mm-hmm.
left him. He's like, well, I'll find someone else, and I'm like, let's stop.
Yeah.
So you're dating slash marrying people you don't even care about.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
It is a problem. This
That
man just does not want to be alone.
that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did your father like not give you the love you deserved, and now
Like,
you're
do you have
looking for it?
abandonment
Yeah,
issues? Like,
has to
mm-hmm. There
come
are probably some parental issues in there as well, but
yeah, come
like,
sit on my couch. We're gonna have a
right,
long
right,
discussion about
right,
this.
right. Don't think you're leaving anytime soon
No.
or that this is the last session you're ever going to have.
Oh, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. We're gonna have to have a minimum of 2 years worth of sessions.
Yeah, yeah, just
Weekly.
the minimum.
Weekly sessions.
Yeah, weekly hour and a half sessions.
Yeah.
I will clear my day schedule for you.
Yeah. You don't even have to pay me. Like, I'm helping the world with
Right.
this service, so you don't
I'm
even have to pay
helping
me.
any of the people that you want to get with in the
Yeah.
future. This
Yeah.
isn't for me. This is for you and for them.
Yeah. I'm helping them, and I'm helping your children, because obviously they also have problems. So
Right.
yeah.
Like, have you ever seen your 4-year-old son? Or is he always with some kind of nanny?
Yeah, I've never seen those two in the same room
Yeah.
together. So something's happening
I
there.
bet you he's just all like, oh yeah, I have a son somewhere. I was probably at the birth.
Yeah. It's like I got there eventually.
Yeah. It might have been his first birthday, but I got there.
I got there.
Okay. Joe tells his father that he has also just broken up with somebody. And his father says that he just has to meet somebody new, which is easy, and it'll be 3 weeks tops.
Yeah. Red flag. Red flag.
Huge red flag. Multiple. Joe scoffs at that, saying, has he ever met somebody that like has lit up his life? And his father asks if he has. And Joe kind of has a revelation. So next day, Joe shows up to Kat's apartment, but she tries to send him away, saying that she has a cold. But somebody in the building lets
Which
him
I was
in.
confused. Did she actually have a cold?
Yeah,
Okay.
she was actually sick.
Okay, I thought she was like playing
Like she's trying to get rid of him?
Yeah, I thought she was
No.
just trying to get rid of him, but then like she just kept going along with it even after he got into the apartment. So I was
Yeah,
like,
well, her apartment was covered with tissue, and she said she took medicine and blah 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 blah.
okay, because I was like,
Yeah.
wow, she's really trying to sell this "I'm sick" thing.
Right. She's like, wow, Joe, you really should be here. She's sticking with this bit for like 100%. So he gets to her door and she freaks out because he wants to come in. So she rushes to clean her apartment before letting him in.
Yeah,
Joe's
she didn't even really let him in. He just walked in,
yeah, she opened the door and he kind of just like
let himself in.
yeah, he's like, oh, is there somebody here? And she's like, no, it's just a TV. He's like, oh, okay. And he just walks in. Um, so Joe said that he heard she was sick and was worried and came to see her. And she asks if he's there to gloat about how he put her out of business, and he says no. And she's saying that she has so many job offers right now that she's doing fine. There's even a job offer from his ex-girlfriend. Joe puts the flowers he got her into a vase and says he heard she was sick from George, who now works at his bookstore in the children's department. Kat asks about his breakup, saying she just broke up with somebody too, and that one of her friends also just got out of a relationship. Joe makes her tea, and they finally clear the air between one another with the things that they said to one another at the cafe, and the things that they did to each other business-wise. And Joe says he wants to be her friend and asks if it's possible. Kat doesn't answer him and just goes to bed because she isn't feeling well. Joe asks about the friend that she was supposed to meet that night at the cafe. He asks why they haven't gotten together, and she admits that they've never met before, that they've met through the internet. And Joe says that if they mean so much to one another, they should see each other and make the time. She tries to turn down his advice, but he's like, no, just don't say anything. And he leaves. Kat emails NY152 and says that they should meet. And Joe replies saying that they will once the project that he's working on is finished. Joe and Kat then start to spend a lot of time together, and they talk about her email buddy and who he could really be. And Joe is playing both sides at this point. Joe and Kat meet again for lunch and sometime at a farmer's market, and they talk about NY152 again. And they try to guess what the 152 means. And Kat correctly guesses that the 152 could be part of his address. And he freaks out about that. And he's like, no, it can't possibly be that. And she's right. The only thing she says that she's worried about is that he has a boat and that she can never be with anybody that has a boat. I don't know why that's a deal breaker.
Yeah, I don't either. Maybe she watched Double Jeopardy and she was like, no boats. No boats.
She watched Double Jeopardy the other day and she's all like, you know what? I am never getting on a boat with anybody ever again.
Yeah, she somehow was able to watch it a year before it came out. It was like, nope.
Yeah, she heard about it.
Yeah.
She's also like, oh.
She's friends with someone over at the studio. And she yes. got a first draft of the script and was like, nope.
Yeah, they wanted her to read it over and she read through it and she's just like, oh God.
Oh God.
My email buddy has a boat.
No
what am I gonna do? And then Joe says that he could never be anybody that likes Joni Mitchell. Which
who is Joni Mitchell?
You've never heard of Joni Mitchell?
No.
She's a singer.
If you sing me a song, maybe. Because I'm really bad with artist names. You'll have to tell me the song.
Oh crap, now I can't remember. She's like folky pop. I'm sure you've heard one of her songs. I'll send you one later.
Folky pop. Okay.
Yeah, I'll send you one later. Where am
I? You're at
okay. Joe then asks about the children's book that she's been writing and says that NY152 was the reason why she started writing. They then plan to meet again on Saturday for lunch. Joe writes her that night and says he and Brinkley want to meet her Saturday at 4.
Yeah, at this point, it's getting ridiculous. He's dating her twice, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, he's yeah. Like she thinks that she's talking to two different people when they're the same.
Yeah. She's like, she's having physical dates with
Yeah.
Joe, and then with NY, whatever the
152.
152, she's having like chat dates.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
It is very
It makes
confusing.
sense in my mind, but it may not be making sense coming out of my mouth.
Yeah. I am not good at explaining this.
No.
So Kat and Joe meet on Saturday for lunch. This is the actual physical relationship. And they discuss her emailer saying that she could have met him before because the place that he suggests that they meet is close to where both of them live. Well, where Joe used to live, where Kat currently lives.
Mm-hmm.
On their walk back to Kat's apartment, Joe asks if they could ever be together if they weren't who they were and what they've done to each other. Kat
Which
goes to
she didn't
leave.
do anything to him. He
Yeah,
did
she
all the
really
stuff to
didn't. She
her.
really just said that the things that were true.
Yeah.
So Kat goes to leave, but Joe asks her how she could forgive the guy who stood her up, but not him for putting her out of business.
Yeah, those two are not
Those two are
comparable
not,
in the
yeah.
slightest.
Those are not mutually exclusive. Like,
No.
one is just standing somebody up on a date, and the other one is putting somebody out of
Bankrupting
business.
someone.
Yeah, and putting them out on the street. Like,
yeah. Plus all of her employees.
yes, right. She doesn't reply and says she has to go and get ready for her date / meeting with NY152. So Kat goes to her apartment and changes and tries to hype herself up for the meeting. She shows up at their meeting spot and waits and looks around until she hears somebody calling for Brinkley.
Yeah, this is why me finally knowing the dog's name made sense. Because I was very confused as how she realized it was him until at the beginning of this episode when Kelley was like, his dog's name is Brinkley. And I was like, oh!
Yeah. Yeah. So she hears somebody calling for Brinkley and it turns out to be Joe. She laughs at herself, but starts to cry when Joe gets closer. He tells her not to cry. And she says that she wanted it to be him the whole time.
Which made no sense at all.
I can see it though.
No,
I can see it.
No, Kelley. It made literally no sense.
Because like she has a better relationship with Joe than she does now with her emailer. And she's just like, maybe.
Why? What's the difference? They know each other's names. That's the only difference.
I don't know. But it makes sense in my mind.
And then she just forgives him, and we still have this whole he ran you out of business thing looming over their relationship. I can't get behind this at all.
There's the movie fact on that.
I'm so sorry. I can't root for them.
So after that, they kiss, and that's where the movie ends. So movie facts.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
So
maybe this will change my opinion on their relationship. We'll see.
So you know how you said you would not forgive him for getting you out of business?
Yes.
One of the like main writers also said that she didn't like the fact that Kat and Joe ended up together for the sole fact that he put her out of business.
Because any reasonable person would also feel that way.
But one of the other writers, like, I guess whoever the main writer was, she was like a bit young. They didn't say what her age was or whatever, but they said she was young. And so the older writer said that like when you're at that point in your life, you look at things differently. And so she was able to find it in her to forgive him. And I'm just like, so when I'm 30, will I finally watch this movie and be like,
no.
Oh yeah, now I understand. Yeah, no, like I don't think
I will not.
So you're not alone in that feeling. One of the writers was like, I don't
it made no fucking sense. I'm
know.
so sorry. It made literally no sense.
It made sense to somebody. If you were one of the writers that thought that this was okay,
please email me because we need to have a conversation. Email me and we're gonna have a FaceTime. We're gonna have a conversation because no.
You have to take me through your thought process, please.
Yes, please.
So the shop that they filmed Kat's bookstore, like the shop around the corner, it's an actual store.
Oh, I thought they used like a soundstage
No.
because it looked so
And
like tiny.
yeah, and so the actual store sold cheese and antiques.
Yum.
I know. When I saw that, I was just like, what's the connection?
There's no connection.
Like, I know you probably want to sell, like, go into a business that you're excited for, but cheese and antiques
You're in one of the best markets in America and you're selling cheese
and
and
antiques. That's a
antiques.
very niche market.
That's a very niche market. That's
It's a-
worse than having a year-long Christmas store to me.
and it's funny because so they sent the owner on vacation, whatever. But it's ironic because years later, the cheese and antique store went out of. They were put out. They were
Out of business?
bankrupt.
Why? Did they open a Whole Foods across the street? What happened?
No, I don't know, but like the store had to close and it eventually became a dry cleaners.
Because they had a terrible business model.
Cheese and antiques. What could
Who
possibly go
who
wrong?
who gave this person a loan to open this store?
Right. Who saw the business plan and they're like, you know what? I want to invest in that.
I want to invest in this. Cheese
Cheese and antiques.
and antiques.
I want to know how many investors they went through. How many
two
banks?
two worlds collide. Cheese and antiques. It's the Hannah Montana of stores. I love it.
So this movie is based on a 1937 play called Parfumery, but there is an original movie. So this is basically a reboot of the 1940s movie called The Shop Around the Corner, which is the name of Kat's bookstore. Okay. Everything comes full circle.
Wait, you say it's called the Parfumery?
Yeah, the play was called Perfumery.
Was it a perfume store?
Well, it doesn't matter what it's called.
And then like the guy opened like a Macy's. Like what happened?
No, so the original movie is basically it's a good one if you want to watch the original.
I'm good.
It's black and white. It's kind of long, but it's good. They basically work at the same store and they hate each other.
See, that would have been a better story.
But they are pen pals. And he suggests that they meet at a cafe, and it's basically the same thing with Kat and Joe, where he shows up and he sees her.
See, that would have been a better story. That would have been a better story.
And it would have made more sense with them getting together.
Yes.
There wouldn't be a dead business on one side.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's the same with the play. I think they worked at the same spot and they hated each other, but they're secretly pen pals and they don't.
Yeah. Why did they make it worse? I don't know.
I don't know. Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan have been movie lovers in 4 movies.
Yeah, I know there's another movie they were in together.
Sleepless in Seattle.
Sleepless in Seattle, that's what it was.
This one. Joe versus the Volcano, which I haven't seen. Yeah. It's a 1990 movie.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. Yeah. And then they were in Ithaca, which I haven't seen either.
Ithaca Heaven.
No. 2016.
So I'm gonna be honest.
Mm-hmm.
When you were like, we're gonna watch this movie,
mm-hmm.
I was completely thinking this was a different movie.
Movie?
There's a movie where there's these 2 people who write letters to each other and they put it inside of a mailbox.
The Lake House?
The Lake House. That's what I thought this movie was.
I was caught between the Lake House and this movie because I thought they were so cute.
I thought this was the Lake House, and then they started
Reeves?
They started IMing each other, and I was like, wait, I thought they were supposed to do letters.
He's like, wow, Keanu Reeves looks a lot different in this movie. Yeah. It's the Lake House is the one with the letters.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I literally thought that was the movie.
You know what? That's gonna be one of my recommendations this week then.
Okay.
since you brilliantly messed them up together. Okay, iconic or not?
No.
No?
No. I was kind of bored.
It is a little.
And I was not rooting for this couple at all.
See, in the 1940s one is so much better.
Yeah, I would have liked it if they did that version.
Yeah.
But Joe was an asshole. until like the
really
last like
does.
10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, the last like 15 minutes, he really turns a new leaf.
Like he ran her out of business. He was constantly mean to her, calling her names. I was very confused. Caused all of her employees to lose their jobs. I can't get behind that. I like a good romance movie.
Mm-hmm. A good
A
romance
good
movie.
romance movie, but I need to be able to root for the couple, and I couldn't root
Yeah.
for the couple in this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. I think I'm sentimental about it because I like the original. I really like the original because the guy who plays well, the main guy in The Shop Around the Corner is the main guy from it's the Christmas movie. It's a Wonderful Life. He's in it.
It's
The main guy.
I'm trying to remember. It's a Wonderful Life.
What's his name? It's a Wonderful Life.
I don't remember the plot to It's a Wonderful Life.
Really?
Let me try to go into my mind palace and like.
Oh no! Did you just say Mind Palace, bro?
My mind palace.
James Stewart. That's the actor's name.
Did not help me at all.
Okay.
Did not help me at all.
Well, you know, he runs a bank, and then there's a run on the bank, and
Okay, it's coming. It's coming to me. It's coming to me. Bank.
and then he tries to commit suicide, and then an angel comes.
Oh, I most definitely never saw that movie then. Never mind.
You haven't seen It's a Wonderful Life?
No, why was I thinking of Miracle on 34th Street?
Yo, that's yo.
I was legit
Sick.
thinking of Miracle on 34th Street.
Totally different movie. Every time a bell
And then
rings,
you-
an angel gets its wings.
And then you mentioned suicide, and I was like, whoa, that was not in that movie.
This is really the lake house. You've got mail situation.
Yep.
You heard Christmas and you heard old movie, and you're like, Miracle on 34th Street.
Miracle on 34th Street. Seen it. Original black and white version. Seen it.
Oh my gosh, you haven't seen It's a Wonderful Life.
No.
I have to make you watch it when it's Christmas time again.
A lot of the old Christmas movies I don't like. Like I'm gonna make you upset when I say this.
Okay.
I don't like White Christmas. I don't like that movie. Don't cry. Remember, you can't leave me. We're married.
I know. I can't. You know when I file for divorce, irreconcilable differences.
Because I don't like White Christmas.
You know what? I would spitefully play it every year.
I can see you doing that. I can see you be like, we're watching a movie. Sit down.
Right, sit down. We're gonna watch a lovely Christmas movie.
Uh,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. I also don't like, what's the name of that movie that they play on like TNT for like 24 hours on Christmas? What's the name of that movie?
Christmas Story.
A Christmas Story? I don't like that movie
I don't like
either.
that movie either. That's fine. You
I
know,
like
shoot
I
your
like
eye out.
I like the more modern classics. I like my Elf. I like my How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I like
Did
the
you
more
watch the newer one, the animated one? Was that one good?
did not watch it.
I only knew that Benedict Cumberbatch was in it.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to watch that later.
Yeah. So, what do you think about it?
I want to say it's iconic just because it's what it like. I think it's a good movie.
Debatable.
I kind of like it. If I close one eye and I don't think, it's a good movie.
Well, you don't think about it. It's a good movie.
I think I'm just sentimental about it.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
There's movies I like that are terrible movies. It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't a terrible movie, but
It's
like
not- yeah, it's not.
there's movies I like that are terrible movies.
Yeah. Okay. Recommendations.
I have two. My first
Okay.
one will be Scandal.
Okay.
It's still a good show, even though there's not a single man on that show that isn't toxic.
When
But
will
yeah.
we stop writing Toxic Men?
Who knows? But yeah, Scandal is a good show. Everyone watch it.
Watch it.
And then my second recommendation is a podcast. It's called Crime Junkie. Good, but if you like true crime, it's a good podcast. It's not I usually listen to comedy true crime podcasts. It is not comedy. And this, like, it is a very serious podcast. Like, they don't crack jokes at all. Like, it's a serious podcast.
Yikes.
That's probably why it's number one on iTunes all the time.
Probably.
But yeah, it's a very good podcast. They only do one episode a week, though, which kind of sucks. At least with How to Get Away with Murder, you get a mini episode and then you get a full episode.
Mm.
But yeah, it's a good podcast. If you like true crime, you should listen to it.
Yeah.
Yours?
So one of mine is Pride and Prejudice 2005 version, directed by Joe Wright with
Keanu Reeves?
No.
Lake House?
No, stop. Keira Knightley.
Everything is the Lake House.
Everything leads back to the Lake House. Soundtrack is great. Movie is great. Watch it. It's a good romantic movie.
Oh,
good period drama.
Keira Knightley's in it.
Yeah, Keira Knightley's in it.
Maybe I'll give it a chance. I like her period movies. Anna Karenina was good.
Oh, Anna Karenina was good.
My favorite movie of hers is Atonement.
Have you read the book?
The book?
Yeah.
Of Atonement?
Yeah.
No, I have not. I didn't know there was a book.
I read it for my senior English class. So good.
Didn't know there was a book. Maybe I'll give it a look. I need to finish these Percy Jackson books though.
Finish the Percy Jackson books. But the little sister, like in the book, she's crazy, bro.
Little sister. Is that the main girl?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sheersa
Ronan.
Yeah, Ronan. That's her last name. Yeah. It's crazy.
Because when you were talking about crazy, I thought you were talking about the cousin.
Oh, no.
And I was like, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but the sister is crazy. My second recommendation is The Lake House.
See, everything comes back to The Lake House.
Everything comes back to Lake House. Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock. You know what? I didn't get that movie for the longest time because the different time zone, like not time zones, different times, like messed me up in my head. Yeah,
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
You've never seen it, but you mix it up with You've Got Mail.
Yeah, that's probably why I mixed it up.
Probably why you did it. Okay.
Because I've never seen either of these movies before.
Man, okay.
And I just knew there was a movie about a woman who put like letters into her mailbox and then they would go into like the future or the past. I literally don't remember. Okay. And then a guy would pick them up.
They go into the past, but that's all right.
There we go.
All right.
That's why I thought it was one movie.
Okay, yeah, I can see that now. I understand. Yeah, so that's it for me.
Cool. Well, thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you for listening.
Don't forget to follow us on our social media of our Twitter and our Instagram. They're both at SYTYI Podcast. Don't forget to send us your movie stories, your requests. Answer some of our questions.
Our many questions.
Like the list is growing, people. We need some answers.
And we're still not any smarter on any of the topics we brought up.
At all. I've noticed that someone from the UK watched a couple of episodes. So did you watch the Princess and the Diaries episode? Did you answer our questions?
Right. Did you answer our questions? You did not. We did not get any DMs. We did not get any emails.
No, nothing. So this is for you. Our email is sytyi podcast@gmail.com.
Anyone that lives under a monarchy.
Yes.
Please.
We're getting desperate.
We're getting desperate here. At this point, we're just going to make up stuff and going to believe it.
Yeah. To become king, you must bleed 3 times on the royal shield. And if it stretches out to form a cross, you are the king. That's now canon. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules.
I don't make the rules in this. It's canon.
It's canon.
In this monarchy, it's canon.
It's canon.
We're just gonna make our own monarchy at this point. We don't know how any of it works.
No. Don't forget to share us with your family and your friends.
Yes.
Subscribe to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It really helps us out. It'll help us to get sponsors, which will
Yes.
also help us is to write a review on Apple
Yes.
Podcasts. 5 stars.
5 stars, please.
5 stars,
Thank
please.
you.
I'm a 5-star chick.
Yeah.
If you know that song, like you know.
Yeah.
Don't forget to wear your mask.
Yes, and wash that and your hands.
And if you are capable of getting the vaccine, please get it so that I can go outside. Thank you. Bless you. Please and thank you.
I love our job at the coronavirus, and then I just
She
sneeze.
sneezes.
It's the allergies, I swear. It's really windy here.
She's lying. She has it.
No, I don't, I swear. All right.
Okay. Stay iconic.
Stay iconic, y'all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.